over the past few years, Marvel has been decimating the female characters that they have that they could use, but unfortunately, we are now hearing that their upcoming X-Men reboot may center on female mutants and be the Marvels 2.0. I have a few different things that I want to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or via YouTube memberships. So this is all a rumor, take it with a grain of salt, but it does line up with several other sources we've heard that have been talking about what this reboot was going to be. Now, of course, the X-Men has faced some controversy over the past few years internally at Marvel Studios. I'm sure you all remember Victoria Alonso saying that they didn't want it to be called the X-Men anymore. Because why should it be called the X-Men when there are so many women that are part of it? And, well, unfortunately, for people who maybe years and years ago loved Marvel Studios, you might be in for a bad time looking to the future, because it says in What If True would go down as in history as perhaps the most predictable Marvel Studios decision of all time. A new whisper on the street has suggested that X-Men's debut outing in the MCU will not focus on any of the team's iconic incarnation, but instead tell a story centered on the female mutants amongst their ranks. Now, I have to say this all the time. I love seeing strong female characters in entertainment, and there are some fantastic females that could be featured in a movie like this, but unfortunately, I just have zero faith in Marvels and the creatives who would be writing, directing, producing this kind of movie. It says this latest rumor regarding the cinematic return of Marvel's Merry Band of Mutants was first raised to the public courtesy of a post made by noted scooper Daniel RPK, saying Marvel Studios' current plan for the X-Men reboot includes focus on the female characters, Mr. Sinister as top choice for main villain, no Magneto involved to differentiate it from previous films. Now, of course, I just recently had to talk about Insomniac Games facing major leaks, and their Wolverine game faced major leaks, and of course that, is going to feature characters like Jean Grey. She apparently is going to be a playable character, and the story is going to focus on Wolverine and her. She's going to be one of the lead characters in the game. So hearing that their upcoming X-Men reboot should technically be releasing right around the same time, and we're now hearing these leaks, give a bit more credence, in my opinion. It says the scooper did not provide any details as to which specific heroes were currently being considered, but it does say that they are considering Mr. Sinister as top choice for the main villain, and of course he is going to be, as far as we are hearing, and as far as the leaks are saying, he is going to be the lead villain of that game as well. So it seems like maybe they're trying to tie together some of these stories and release this game around the same time as the movie to get people maybe interested. If you're interested in the game, maybe you'd watch the movie and vice versa. Now, of course, as it says, there's no details as to which specific heroes could be considered in this movie, but, there are fantastic females that could be in it, like obviously Jean Grey being the most notable. There's, of course, Psylocke and Rogue, but the problem here is not just the female characters, right? Because I think many people would watch a movie like this with very good characters, but the problem is Marvel and their track record with their female characters over the past few years. I mean, just look at the Marvels, which we recently released and was a absolutely massive failure for them, and they have definitely dropped the ball when it's come to some of their other more iconic female characters. In my opinion, they did a terrible job with Scarlet Witch. She's such a great character, and then, I like Elizabeth Olsen, and I think that she portrayed Wanda pretty well. I just think that they did not do her justice and her character justice, and we're also hearing that it's very likely that Iman Vellani's portrayed Kamala Miss Marvel Khan would be among them, as she is both the MCU's first official mutant and one of its currently favored female characters. So this is also another issue, is that they would try to tie in characters like Miss Marvel Kamala Khan into this. And I just do not see this capturing audiences. I know I personally am not a big fan of her. I am not a fan of, the actress or the character. And I know so many people would agree with that. I mean, just look at how the Marvels bombed. Of course, she was not the only lead character in that movie, but when you have this plethora of strong, independent females in the cringy, feminist humor, it just doesn't work. And that is what I am most afraid of when we hear an X-Men reboot to center on female mutants. There is a vast array of amazing characters that they could use, but Marvel has a very poor track record with their female characters currently, and I just do not have any trust in them to do justice by these characters. I have no faith that they would go into this with a different formula than they have been doing for years at this point with their female characters. I just can't sit here and say this movie could be different until we see, something that proves different. It says, notably, though, his scoop has yet to receive any official confirmation. Its information is lent credence by the fact that Marvel Studios has an established habit of subverting audience expectations in order to artificially bolster the franchise's female representation. And again, I'm perfectly fine with seeing a movie led by females. The problem that we have seen over the years is the narrative that is shoved into these movies, is the dialogue of the, men are stupid and we don't need any men to help us. Us women can do triple what they can. It's just over and over and over. It's like they're hitting us with this hammer that absolutely nobody is buying. I mean, just look at how poorly the Marvels did. It got really bad audience scores. Even the critics did not particularly like it. Not that, they really mean anything in the grand scheme of things. And of course, ticket sales for this film were terrible. I saw it and I was just left extremely underwhelmed. It's like they did not know exactly what they wanted to do with the movie besides, hey, let's stick all of these three female characters together and hope that audiences like it. And that just didn't happen. So yes, I mean, this is just a rumor. Of course, take it with a grain of salt, but it does line up with several plans that Marvel has in the future. And of course, judging by their track record, this also would not be very surprising, I think, to anybody, just judging by how much they've tried to push their female characters. And ultimately, they just came out with the Marvels, which did terribly, so they're looking to replace those females with potentially new females. I think if this is true, it is going to be an absolute clusterfuck, and it is not going to make everybody happy, that's for sure. Obviously, only time will tell. There's some fantastic characters that they could use in this, but I just have absolutely no faith in them at this point. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.